This video is obviously about the Boondocks. I'm here to just tell you my experience. I hope you all understand. I have no plans on outing anybody. Nothing I say in this video is going to be directed towards anyone who's on the original cast of the Boondocks. This was specifically between me and creative producers and people who are higher up who are working on the show, making the decisions in the background. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. Last year in May, me and my dad, we were on our buddy Joe Rogan's podcast. On the podcast, my dad happened to mention that the Boondocks was coming back.
But Boondocks are coming back.
That's a great show.
For those who are out there, I'm a voice actor. I've been voice acting for 7+ years, and I do my dad's voice on the podcast.
How do you feel about your son's impression of you? It's really good.
Well, here I only know it because this is how he talks to me all the time. He'll always be like, JD, what you doing today? You got work? You gotta go sit back and talk to all them people. Yeah. I ain't never.
Everyone was commenting, are you going to voice your dad? Are you going to be this? Are you going to do that? I think some people think that my dad had already previously recorded some audio. He never recorded anything. So no. Then in October, he passed away. A week later, we did the funeral. And while we were at the funeral, and I spoke on the podium, and when I was speaking on the podium, I told stories about my dad.
But you would go on every radio show and be like, oh yeah, well, I talked to Cube last week. And he said, we're going to do this last Friday. And, I can't wait to get that money. I'd be like, Dad, I was like, so many people like you. He's like, oh, I know everybody loves me. Everybody loves me.
After I got off stage, I had friends, family who were like, dang, man, yo, that voice though, man, you got to go do your pops on the cartoon, right? When we were there, I was approached, because I was on stage and I sounded like him, by one of them who works for the Boondocks saying, we'll give you a call and talk to you soon about it. They approached me and offered to sit down and workshop the voice with me. They seemed like very inclined to have me voice his character. So a little later that week, they sent me the script for the pilot episode and they told me, to look through it and maybe find some lines that I could really resonate with, record some audio at home.
Oh, nice. Thank you, boy. Huey.
But it got weird after that. I don't know why they got more and more distant from me. Like, at the end of the day, I don't care about the job. I wanted to honor him. We never got the chance to sit down and workshop and work through the voice at all. A month go by without me hearing anything, and then randomly they contact me with information about an audition date to come into the studio and lay down some vocals. And it was pretty abrupt and random, especially since they never gave me feedback on the audio I sent them. It was a very weird audition. When I got in the room, the casting director oddly said to me, hey, first time in front of the mic? I was actually concerned because I was like, no. Has no one seen my resume? Did my reps not send it? Which they did. I have an IMDb. I have credits. I thought that threw me off my game for half a second. Not enough for me to do bad or anything. Just I was like, no, I have been in front of mics before. I was like, I'm on 3 animated series, bro. I was like, I'm on 2 on Adult Swim, 1 on Fuse TV. I heard that and I thought to myself, does no one here know that I work in the voice acting industry? Because that's not good. I thought someone would do their due diligence. We started the audition and sat back and said to myself, I know this man too well for me not to do this right. I would read through the script, and when you're a voice actor, you have moments where you can hear that you're not hitting the mark, right? Oddly enough, I was getting the okay from everyone in the room. I knew I was doing bad takes, and I was like, hey, let's run it again. And they were like, no, that's good. And I was like, no. I was like, that was not good. I heard myself lose the voice for a few seconds, and it kind of dipped into what I sound like or dipped into something completely different. And I thought that was extremely odd. They wanted me to kind of push through it and just say that bad takes were good. Also, this was very, very concerning to me is in the process, they'll kind of give you notes, right? Because it's a voice, it's not like you're acting on camera. When you're acting on camera, some people will just let you do your thing, and that's the same with voice acting, but the people behind the mic who are recording you, they are more hands-on, and they usually will give you notes while you're reading. I got no notes. I got no feedback. I was just sitting there. I'm like, okay, this is interesting. And in my brain, this has never happened. I've never done a voiceover audition where someone didn't say, hey, can we do a second take? I assumed, oh, okay, I'm killing it. Like, nobody's got anything to say. I'm doing so well that no one has any complaints. I was like, oh, this is done. This is a done deal. I booked this. No big deal. They were saying I was hitting the mark the whole time, and I just told them, hey, it would be great to work with you guys and really flush out this character and make it as genuine and authentic as possible so that the audience, you all at home, can enjoy the new series and the reboot. And it feels like my dad, because like at the end of the day, I just genuinely, wanted to do right by him. And I wanted to make sure that the fans at home get the best experience. Now we're going to talk about it getting even weirder, because after I said all that, the producer who I was talking with and was working with that day said that choosing of the role is not completely up to them or the people in the room. They told me that it's between them, the studio, the network, and one higher up creatives who specifically said that they do not want to be a part of this project if they don't get my dad's voice right. Now, when I heard that personally, I was confident. I was like, oh, we're good then. Bruh, I killed that. I know my dad. I'm here and I can do right by him and I can make everyone at home happy. It's a done deal. Like, especially if there's someone is integral to the process of the show, to the point where they said, listen, you do it right, sure, we'll get it done. If not, I don't want to be a part of it. I genuinely sat back and heard that information and said to myself, that's awesome. We're going to work on this show. And I know my dad's looking down and he's proud, obviously, but it just meant a little more to me. That information sealed the deal for me, despite how weird it was that day. I was like, okay, you all were acting really weird, but as long as there's someone on the outside looking in who can listen to my voice, hear the audition, and say, okay, that guy got it. Like, he nailed it. That sounds like John. There's nothing else to worry about. It got even more odd because the same producer tells me in a sad, like melancholy type way, hey, listen, no matter what happens, I'll try to get you on the show. I was like, bro, what are you talking about? I just killed this audition. What does that mean? I didn't even really understand why they told me that. That was weird of them. I mean, that sounds like you want to give it to somebody else already, or you already found who they wanted to choose. And for those of you who know Hollywood or know how acting or voice acting, any of that stuff works, that happens. That happens in Hollywood, where they will hire somebody to do the job and they'll have a string of auditions left for people that are already on the call-in sheet to come in and audition, and they'll force these people to come in and perform for a job that's not even available anymore. Hearing that kind of got me discouraged. I had a little bit of hope just because of what they told me about how somebody just said they refuse to be a part of it if it's not right. And I was like, well, I know that if I do it, it's right. Not even because I'm his son. It's more because I'm telling y'all, I know this man. I would think that they'd be more relieved to know, oh, wait, John passed away, but he has a son who's a working voice actor who sounds exactly like him, who has the credentials to show for it. Well, what a saving grace. This is amazing. I just sat back and said, strictly based off of what I gave them in the room, I know that had to be the most solid product they had heard. It was one of the things where I'm like, if you guys want to do the job right, I can't imagine you going with anyone else. Well, now here comes the unfortunate part of my video, where 3 weeks later, I finally get a call back. They gave me the bad news. They were going to go with a different actor. And I still, to this day, have no idea why. Now, personally, I know who they chose. And this part is really gross to me because I've met this person twice. I don't fucking care for them. I doubt they care for me. It's neither here nor there. I don't like or dislike them. I'm neutral about it. But I sit back and I realize now, or like a little bit after this all happened, that I had seen this person who they casted for the role on my social media on Instagram, and they were like watching my stories of like me and my dad, like the Starry Night video that I put up, and like the videos that are just the personal moments and the ones that are on my feed. And literally I'm now realizing that they probably were, and it's fucking gross, they were probably trying to practice how to sound like him based off of my grief and the videos that I was posting. And like, just thinking about that really disgusts me and makes me really angry. But that's Hollywood, man. Nobody gives a fuck about anybody's feelings, and they just, oh, you're sad? Well, we gotta book. I gotta book this fucking role, man. I just hate that they were looking through my profile using my grief as reference points for their audition. Not that I deserve anything, I just didn't understand the behavior of some of these people. I'm very much aware that I'm never gonna work with these people ever in my career, and I am completely fine with that. I asked them, does the person you chose show sound more like my dad than I do. Their response, it's not about that. What? So you're telling me I was better than them, but you went the other way? I can't mentally handle the thought of my dead dad's voice manipulated and used for profit. I guess in a sense, if you guys are going to go in a new direction, I guess that's fucking fine. Whatever. Do your new reboot version of my father. They heard me say that, immediately got frustrated, said to me, no, it's still your dad. I knew something was fishy. The producer says, hey, we still want to offer you a role. They wanted to give me a second place prize, probably so I didn't make something like this. They offered me young granddad. You're going to take a character, split them in half into 2 different roles. It's that much harder for both actors to perform off of each other. They casted the role in January, but no one has said anything about who they cast. And then that way you get yourself like a Deadline article. I'm like, so why did y'all make this decision when you knew it was going to get backlash? That offer never came because it was just an idea on paper. They said, you can listen to the audition tapes, man. First off, stop trying to manipulate me. I've never seen this before. It's voice acting, not getting on camera. I can sound old and then sound young. It felt like I lost my dad for a second time. And I'm not bringing my family into this because this isn't about them. This is my experience with this project. I care about my dad. I'm not yet emotionally equipped to deal with it. I got tough skin, but I also don't think I need to bury my head in the sand and be quiet about it. The fact that they have not said anything speaks volume. I'm still giving them grace. I could go through my phone, I could do receipt, but I'm still a professional at the end of the day, and I'm not going to throw them under the bus like that because they've already set themselves up. I tried to wait. I'm like, oh, they're not gonna say shit because they don't want anyone on the other side, on the consumer market, the people who are going to watch the show, they don't want anyone putting any bad karma on it, which I get. You want your product to go and you want your product to do well, but it's shady, man. I would much rather them have said something by now and dealt with the PR backlash, and then eventually everybody gets on the same page. I pretty much assumed, just like a Hollywood move, maybe they were like, he's not famous enough. I'm thinking maybe that was it. They did not blame it on the production company. They did not blame it on the network. They were just adamant in saying that that was the right choice, and I needed to accept it. When they had me audition, they were telling me about how they want to use audio technology to create this like deep fake audio. Have you guys ever seen that video where Joe Rogan talks talks and it's not his voice?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of I'm Not Joe Rogan. No, seriously. I am not. This is Joe Rogan speaking, an artificial intelligence created by DESA.
They're trying to get something like that. And Frankenstein, some type of weird fake version of my dad. And that is like so fucking scary to me. And when they told me that, I was confused because I was like, I don't think you're going to need to do that if you hire me. I'll be able to hit it on the nose enough for you guys to maybe pitch up my audio, pitch down my audio, and we'll get it there. I don't want to think about a world where I have to see a commercial for a TV show that my dead father is on and he's nowhere near here, and also the fact that they're gonna try to own his voice. I'm not a fan of what it is that they're trying to do, but you know, they don't care. The fact that when I asked them finally for the audio, oh yeah, they were like, nah, we're good. I think that I'm right in how I feel about this whole situation. I wasn't considering making the money. I wasn't thinking about any of that stuff. Whatever he was gonna get paid, they weren't gonna pay me that. I'm fine with that. I don't know, my emotions got the best of me and they still do, and I just wanted to be a part of a piece of his life. He never gave me handouts. I hate that this situation happened, but I know I'll be able to live with it. In a perfect world, my dad would just still be alive, y'all. He would have done this job and I would have never had anything to do with this shit. I wouldn't have to be so emotionally worn down. I could just be living my life normally. Even if he still passed away, I wish he would have just finished this one job too. Not for my sake, but just so that like you all could have gotten a chance to enjoy him for one last go. I saw all the other stuff, people who were saying that they should just, get rid of his character. Hey, I'm with that too. Honestly, at this point, I considered that. I was very much in the mindset that like, if they don't hire me, or even if they did, maybe an out would be a good idea just so that you can pay respects to the character. I think they were saying like Jennifer Lewis could play the grandma. I was like, yo, low key, that's a funny bit. And that's the thing. I know that my dad is not granddad, but at the end of the day, y'all not gonna act like granddad was not maybe based off of my father, or the fact that without my dad there is no granddad. And I'm saying that knowing that even I wouldn't be able to do him 100% justice, but I think that I would be able to give you all a product that you would have went home and watched the show and enjoyed it and sat back and been really happy just to know that like I was trying to honor him as much as possible. Because, you know, at the end of the day, when you think about this character, what do you think about? Think about my dad, man. I don't want to eat off of my dad while he's dead. I think that is fucking gross. This show's going to happen with or without me. I would much rather it be with me than without me. But I'm at the point where I know that that's not going to happen, and I don't care anymore. They would have at least, let's get somebody who people can resonate with similar to John, instead of trying to carbon copy Frankenstein his voice so we can make this cartoon. So, like, look, after sitting with this information for probably 3 weeks, maybe a month or something, and never getting an offer to play young granddad, I finally wrote a text thread, like a long one. I just told him, I was like, yo, I think you guys made the wrong decision. I tried to explain to them that the last few seasons of the TV show didn't, you know, I know the fans didn't love them. I was trying to really get it through to them that casting someone who doesn't know the nuances of my dad, it means that they're going to miss out on certain genuine things that my dad does that nobody else knows about. His cadences, his speech patterns, the way he eats, the way that he breathes, the way that he talks. To me, it's going to sound really bare bones. And I'm sure that the backlash, it won't last forever. People eventually, you'll watch it, and if you tune in, you might like it. Who knows? That is the main reason that you haven't heard any updates on this other than this. This is going to be the update, and like, I don't know, this might get picked up by news articles, all that stuff. I'm just speaking and talking about how I feel. I'm not trying to throw anybody in particular under the bus. I'm just telling y'all what my situation was. Oh, y'all know they're working on it, right? Like, it's being worked on, like, right now. And they're trying to make the product so that they can distribute it without receiving any negativity, you know, so that once you see the show, you can't really go and complain. What are you going to do? It's already out. And it's like, I'm not here trying to cancel a whole goddamn show. I'm really not trying to do that. I'm just trying to tell you that best of luck with whatever this is. I remember after sending them my original text thread about how I felt, their response practically just started ghosting me. And I think they told people who work on the production, like, don't contact him anymore. That was really upsetting because I've known these people since I was a kid. I realized that they do not know me as JD Witherspoon, the actor, the performer, the voice actor, the impressionist, the stand-up comedian. All they know is me as my father's son. I understand that a large majority of you all only know me as John Witherspoon's son. I'm not crazy. I'm not sitting here. I'm not going to get mad at you all if that's why you followed. Friends in the stand-up comedy community who had no idea that he was my dad, because I just don't bring it up. It's not the opener for my conversations. I don't start with, hey, guess who my dad is? I'm not that type of person. All right, so finally, a certain amount of time went by, and I finally got a response from the creative producers that I was originally in talks with, and they responded to my long thread about my concerns for the show, and they responded with very, very short, one-worded answers about how it wasn't their fault that I didn't get chosen, and that the network and the production company are the ones who made the final decision. And I was like, but wait, you did not say that when I asked you that. So I asked them, hey, could you please send me the voiceover audition tapes via email, as they promised they would, because they threatened me with it, where it's like, hey, you might as well listen to the voicemail, bruh. Here's the funny thing. At first, they told me that it would be no problem, right? But then a week went by, and I received a message from one of the creative producers' teammate or their partner from the project, and they texted me and said that I would not be able to receive the auditions due to the production company and the network saying that they need to be under lock and key all of a sudden. And then they said if I wanted to listen to them, I would have to go back to the studio where I auditioned and listen to them in that place. You know, that way I can't get out of there and run off with the tapes or whatever the fuck they thought I was going to do with them. I guess they assumed I was going to TMZ them or some stupid shit. I'm like, bro, I'm not. Why? That's a waste of my time. I mean, I'm talking about it right now, but I'm not outing anyone. I haven't said anybody's name. And hey, don't witch hunt, please. It's not this deep. I just want people to hear my side, because eventually I'm going to have to say it anyway. So there's no need to go on some freaking witch hunt. That's silly. That's just silly nonsense. But, you know, I wanted the audition tapes, right? Because I wanted closure, man. At this point, I'm like, oh my God, like I'm having anxiety attacks, panic attacks. I can't function properly. I like losing my dad is a lot. I'm not dealing with this well. And the only other gripe that I had with everything that went down was the fact that they mentioned that one person who was part of the decision making, who was supposed to be heavily involved in the project of the show, who I personally know who it is, but I'm not going to say. And they said that person was refusing to want to take part in the production unless they got the job done right. And it was just unnecessary. You could have just said, hey, you didn't book it, bye. But they had to go into detail and try to explain why, and try to get me on the right page and try to accept it. And I was like, this is not how this usually works. I've auditioned for things and never had to feel this shitty about not getting a job. So then I reached back out to the producer and I told them that I was willing to go into the studio immediately and listen to the tapes as soon as possible. But then they kept giving me the runaround, ignoring my texts, and our schedules were never linking up. Till this day, this is what I'm trying to tell y'all. I have not heard my audition tape or the person that they originally casted. And I know that that is not the usual. Like I would, in any other situation, I would never be offered to hear anyone else's tape or mine. But they had originally told me that they wanted my input. They said, we want you to be a part of this process, whether you book it or not. And I was like, okay, cool, for sure. Keep me in the loop. And if I were to get a chance to at least listen to the person they chose and my audition, I would, first off, I would get closure. And then secondly, I would sit back and like give them honest feedback and say, hey, this person is or isn't doing my father justice. Listen, y'all, this whole situation was it was traumatizing. It was a lot to deal with on top of the fact of losing my dad so recently. I know that sounds a little over the top because it sounds like I'm just crying over not booking a role, but it like I told you, it's not about just booking the role. It's about like I wanted to just honor my own father. They told me I was the right guy for the job, but then told me you're not getting it. It's all this stuff. It's very manipulative, gaslighting, psychological, unnecessary tactics that I felt like I had to go through. You know, it just feels like a piece of my father was taken away from me. The fact that they're just gonna manipulate his voice, man, that's gonna hurt, dude. That's gonna hurt so much when they manipulate his old audio with whatever that new performance is. And next thing you know, somewhere in the near future, I'm gonna have to accidentally come across a commercial and listen to that shit and just start crying for no reason, knowing that that's not a voice that is coming out of a real person. That guy is dead, and to me, it's just a terrifying feeling. I'm not looking forward to that. After being told that I could not go listen to the audio, I went out of my way to contact the person who was supposed to be a part of this decision making, who they said it was between, remember the producer, the creative producer I was in the room with at my audition, the network, the production company, and this one integral person who was a part of the process of the show going through to the point where if they were to leave, the show may or may not have been possible depending on their creative takes. So I sent an email just saying, hey, I hope you're well. You know, thank you for being a part of my dad's life, and I wish you the best. And it would have been great to work on this project with all of you. And I didn't hear anything for like a month. Here's where shit gets weird. I got an email back from that person who they said was supposed to be helping make the decision for who they cast. They said, hey, JD, I don't know what the producer's criteria was in choosing, but I am disappointed that you are not playing Granddad. I was like, wait, I thought you co-signed on this. They told me that you were a part of it, and the way that they wrote that means they never probably even heard my audition. So I was lied to. For what reason, I don't know. That's the thing. I'm trying to tell y'all, it's like a goddamn murder mystery that I've had to deal with for the last 6 months. I replied with, wait, what are you talking about? I was told that you were supposed to be part of the casting choice and the production decisions and the creative this and this and that. And I was lied to, man. Till now, I still don't understand why these people would give me false information, especially when this all revolves around my dad. Not saying that, oh, I got to get the role. I'm saying, yo, y'all know that y'all are really being fucked up to his firstborn son. And for what? You could have just saved me the trouble and said, JD, we're not, you can't come in to audition. I mean, that would have sucked too, but at least I wouldn't have to go through this fucking roller coaster of emotion and lies and deceit and betrayal. It just sucks. And after that, I tried my hardest to follow up and get the audio from the producers because I got one of my questions answered. Question number 1, did the person that was supposed to be making this decision that I was confident I would have gotten the role from make any decision? No, they weren't even involved. I was lied to about their involvement. Question number 2, let me hear if this person is genuinely that good. And if they sound if they sound more like my dad than I do, I'll let it go. Even though they told me they didn't, I'll still let it go because I'm like, yo, I just want out of this fucking maze of torment and frustration. I don't want to be a part of this anymore. So I followed up with the producers to get the voiceover audio so that I could finally have closure. But guess what happened? Right when we were set up to have a meeting, because they were going to let me come back to the studio and listen to the audio in the studio, they pulled a fucking 180. And last minute, they told me, sorry, JD, the studio or the network, I don't know which one, has told us that they are refusing to let anybody listen to the tapes due to possible internal troubles that are going on with the project. I don't even know if that was it. They just told me, hey, they're not doing it anymore. That's why I don't feel bad making this video. They were proving me right at that point. I got my answer about this person who you guys said was going to quit the whole project. I finally hear from them that they think the wrong person was cast. And I don't know if they even gave them my good audio. They could have given them all my bad takes. All the takes that I told you about that I think were bad, that I told them, hey, let's not save that, let's skip that and try again. That could have been my whole audition tape. I don't know. I doubt it's that deep and that manipulative, but I don't know. They lied to me once. Why not? I think they thought I was going to TMZ them and expose them by releasing the audio, which personally I would just never do because it's dumb. And I have the full pilot. I reached out to the casting director and I just asked them, hey, could you just explain to me what the process was for this? I'm not trying to cause trouble. I don't want you to be upset. I don't want anybody who's your superior to be upset. I just would like a final answer to why this happened. After I wrote a whole thread, they read all my messages. I messaged them on Instagram and they left me on red. Their shit said seen. So they saw everything I said, but they didn't fucking respond. And I was like, okay, I'm never going to get my answers from this whole thing. So I'm going to have to let this go eventually. So yeah, after things have died down, they ghost me. They don't respond to my texts, my messages, my calls, any of that. And I kind of just gave up and just started moving on with my life. Because now it's been a decent amount of time. This shitty show is going to come out this fall. I'm going to therapy, not just because of this show, obviously, more because my dad is gone, and my own personal anxieties and issues and insecurities. I just go in there and I talk about them. Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna have to work on the mental side and just try to get past all this. For those of you who aren't aware, the show is happening. They've been working on the reboot right now for 6 months. By now, they're probably done with all the voiceovers. Which, fuck it. I please don't respond saying, "Oh my God, JD, we got to get him that role back." No, it's not gonna happen. It's not worth it. I don't even think it's an idea or a thought. So no need to waste your powers of persuasiveness on that. I don't necessarily even want to do it anymore, especially not with the people who are working on the show. I'd much rather move on with my life. No good could come from this anymore. I'm trying to leave it alone and let it die out. And I think the most disappointing part of all of this is that these are people that I've known for like half of my life, and they didn't have faith in me to be able to honor my own father. And they set their hell bent and set on using someone else from an outside source who they think would be better suited for the role, even though I'm a working voice actor and I'm a lot more than just his son. In the end, I will not be voicing my father in the Boondocks as granddad, and neither me nor my family are involved with anything revolving around this upcoming reboot of the Boondocks. So look, if you're a fan of the show, hey, do whatever the fuck you want. Support it if you want to, but personally, I'm not going to be watching it, nor can I support it, because at the end of the day, that is not my dad. Whatever it is that they're concocting in there, that Frankenstein monster, that's just some voice actor who doesn't know him at all, and some deep fake computer algorithm trying to force the voice of a dead man to come through your television screens later this year. Yeah. So that's it. I'm at the end of my notes. And with that, RIP Granddad and RIP to my father. I'll see you later.